Next guest is ready. Game point here for Tiafo, longtime tennis agent, most notably representing Naomi Osaka, but both of them are the co-founders of their agency, Evolve. You've heard a lot of big players, part of the Evolve squad. There he is, Stuart Duguid with us. Stuart's been on with us before. It's good to see you, Stuart. I'm here with Tracy, I'm here with Jimmy, and of course, Nick. Were you just in the box for Sabalenka? She got that big win earlier?
I was there, yeah. She played well. She
Nice.
played well. That was probably the best I've seen her play. I would say maybe better than any match she played last week in Indian Wells. So I think her and her team especially were really really excited about the level today. She played great.
Stuart, thanks for joining us. As Chiz had mentioned, you've got Kyrgios, Osaka, Sabalenka, Iva Jovic,
Yep.
amongst others. Are you going to find Sabalenka for the cuss word that she had on air with our own Prakash as she sipped a margarita like 15 minutes ago?
Any PR is good PR.
How is it working with Irina Sabalenka? We just love her personality.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. I think the best thing I can say about her is what you see on her social and what you see when she comes into your studio and does interviews, and that's it. That's her. Yeah. So it's been a real breath of fresh air, I think, for me also having Naomi, who I love as well, but is a totally different personality. Yeah. So having the two of them and finding out how to help them grow their business and strategize with totally different skill sets has been, really, really fun.
And I've got to ask about my buddy Nick Kyrgios and his Good Trouble. I mean, I love, the Good Trouble and all the people that he has on it. How is it working with Nick and working on that show?
It's great. Yeah, I mean, we started the show together. Best thing about that show is also he books all the guests himself. He just DMs all these people.
Nice.
And everyone, now that
we've added Nick Kyrgios, and they're like, all right, we're coming on.
And now we've added like
you get Matthew McConaughey, Mike Tyson from DMs.
Yeah, when we tell McConaughey, oh, by the way, come to U.S. Open and play on the stadium before the men's final, he's like, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
So
nice.
Adding tennis or pickle or basketball. I think he played basketball with Blake Griffin last week. Like, people are really keen to come on. So, but it's great. He's growing. He gets better and better each show. I think he's going to have a great broadcasting career. Yeah. At some point, I'd love to see him play a bit more tennis. Looked like he did all right here, so I think he was happy with himself. Yeah. But yeah, he's great. Love working with Nick. He's a great guy.
Stuart, congratulations on your new company, because I know it's not easy to start. You were with Lagardère, you were with IMG, and there's so many kind of set tennis companies that represent agents. You've done an amazing job to gather up all of this talent so far. Is your plan in the future to go into other sports as well?
Not in the near-term future. I think what we're really enjoying right now is finding these tennis players that sort of transcend tennis and impact culture. So not every player is for us. We're intentionally small. Yeah. But the names like obviously Naomi, Nick, Marina are household names, and there's things that we can do beyond the court, which make it fun and exciting for us. So that's a great question, Tracy, though. I think, I have started thinking about what other sports might make sense. Sports like golf, F1, where there's a similar demographic in terms of sponsorship and fan base.
Did you start this with Naomi, or where? Because I don't know exactly where that stands. Help us out with that.
That's also a great question. We did. Yeah, we did. I'm trying to think. It was about 3 years ago. So we left at we were both IMG at the same time, and we left and started this company. And then Nick came just about the same time, maybe a couple months later. But yeah, it's small. I think we obviously Nick, Irina, Naomi, and we have Iva Jovic, who we've got really. We're really enjoying working with her, and we have not to put pressure on her, but we're I wouldn't say high expectations, but she's doing great. I mean, she's brilliant. Like totally different to these other players too, in the way she plays tennis and the way she carries herself. Amazing family. Yeah. So yeah, we're really optimistic about her, and we have a couple others. So we're sort of building slowly, intentionally, strategically, and it's fun. I enjoy it.
Stuart, do you have a different philosophy from the other agencies? So yeah, as Tracy said, you worked for IMG, you left for your own. Is there a reason you left? Is there something you didn't get to do with the players at IMG that you now can do?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much I can say without getting into trouble. So
that's why I asked the question. I'm ready for trouble.
I'll answer as best as I can. But yeah, I mean,
it's good trouble.
It's good trouble. Yeah, exactly. No. I think. The way it was just timely with Naomi, because the way she thought about her business. So we've been in a few different stages. At the start, we aligned with companies that were Japanese-based but had a global presence. So Nissan, Citizen Watches, Nissin Noodles, Panasonic. And then she blew up US Open, Indian Wells, Australian Open, and we moved more international, MasterCard, Nike, etc. And then she hit a plateau where she had 15 partners.
Wow.
And she said, like, I want to cut this list. I want to have deeper relationships. I want to take equity positions in companies. I want to start some of my own companies. And I want to be I'd rather be much more involved in 6 than I would be not having enough time to serve as 15. So that kind of model doesn't necessarily pay me as the agent tomorrow. It's not so transactional, so that I'm not getting a commission on a deal that we've done with, Body Armor or Poppy, brands that might take 5, 6, 7 years for the equity to vest. And that, I think, is different than the more traditional agencies, even though I'm sure they'll tell you they do that too. But I think we're less transactional, a bit more long-term thinking. Things like, what to do with Nick, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't call MasterCard and get a deal. It's, all right, start from scratch. How do we build a business? What is he like? We're not picking up the phones, should I say, and calling the traditional Rolex, American Express. So, OnlyFans, Joe and the Juice, his own show.
Yeah.
Really thinking outside the box and helping these athletes build stuff rather than giving their name to a brand. How did they build something that they have, a potential future and role in a company or brand. So it's a little different, I think, by design, and it just came, as I said, because Naomi was at that really unique part of her career.
This game is turning huge. 10-minute game. Deuce here. Tiafoe's had some game points. You were kind of touching upon it a little bit, but I think people at home would be interested in this. And you don't have to, I know you can't share everything, but when people think of sports agents, you think of Jerry Maguire and negotiating contracts with the teams, 4-year, 40 million, whatever it is.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Very good. But of course, with tennis, you can't negotiate. You don't negotiate prize money, right?
Yeah.
So for people at home, or maybe we're thinking, like, outside of the prize money, and it could just be for a typical tennis player, top player, what do you think the #1 money maker is for tennis players outside of prize money? Maybe fans aren't aware of it. We always talk about, like, appearance fees and stuff like that. Do you think it's one thing that sticks out?
No, I mean, it's an endorsement portfolio and a category of, a whole variety of business. So you look at, and I think to kind of rephrase that question, what I think is even more interesting is that tennis players, you always see them if you look at these Forbes lists, when you've got LeBron, Messi, Ronaldo, and then you've got Roger Federer and Rafa, and they do a pie chart or spreadsheet of on the court versus off the court. Tennis always really, really outperforms. And I think to myself, why is that? And I think it's because we don't have, as agents, the luxury of doing a deal with the Lakers or doing a deal with Manchester United. So we've got to be really strategic about how we build businesses, and give a lot of credit to people like Tony Godsick and Rogers Business, Jill Smoller with Serena. These are some of the best commercial agents in the world, I think. And that comes in tennis because we don't have the luxury of delving into, let's do a Lakers deal and then come back in 3 years and do another one. Like, we got to be every day building a business. How do we squeeze every piece of juice out the orange for these athletes?
And how do you prepare, we look at Osaka, Sabalenka, Kyrgios, Shabur, Jovic. How do you prepare these athletes for the pressure and kind of scrutiny that they get for being in the spotlight all the time? And, because, look, we're losing matches, we're getting messages on Instagram, hate messages, whatever.
Yeah.
How do you prepare your athletes for something like that? Because these are the top athletes in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone. So I think everyone is completely different. There's no rule book or menu about how to service different players. Naomi's completely different to Sabalenka. The way I've approached my business and the business of these particular athletes is more let them be themselves and then I'll react. So in Naomi's case, I sometimes get more credit than I deserve, but I wasn't suggesting that she speak up on mental health, or I wasn't suggesting she wore those masks in the wake of the George Floyd summer. She did it all herself, and then we kind of said to each other, or I asked her, is this something you want to, double click on, or is this something you want to embrace, or was this just a moment in time and move on? And, she took a period of time to think about it, and then she's like, no, I really stand for these things. And then I helped her explain that and develop her I wouldn't call it a business because it's more personal than that, but helped her, tell her messages and tell her stories, rather than by design me coming and saying, you should do this, you should do that.
Right.
Nick Kyrgios, you're that.
Right.
Sabalenka, you're that.
Right.
No. What do you want? And then I'll help you.
Okay.
Stuart, I'm curious about the day-to-day because when I was playing, my agent would call my mom every morning around 7:30 and say, okay, this is what we need to do today, whether it was media or looking ahead to working with a company. But say someone like a Sabalenka, what is that like? Is it you calling who and how much does she want? Because I didn't want to get this barrage all the time. And I remember I actually took a deal that only wanted 1 day. I mean, some people want 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing the story of Tiger Woods where he would do it in times during the year, maybe 1 or 2 days,
Yeah,
and then
I
not do it
remember that
again
too.
for
I've
like
read that.
5 months. So what's it like for, let's say, Sabalenka or Naomi? Give me one of those.
And I think Maria did it too. So Tracy, is the question like a day in the life for them, or is it how do you
like
manage
who
the
calls?
day-to-day of their
who,
business?
Who do you call? I don't think you are on the phone with her every day, or maybe you are.
With Naomi, yes. Pretty much me and her. With Sabalenka, we have her hitting partner, Andre. You might see him in
Yeah,
the
I know
box.
Andre
the
really
blonde
well.
guy.
Blonde, I think.
Next up, yeah, you would from doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best guy.
Yeah, he's great.
He manages a lot of what you would call the day-to-day, I suppose. So I'm not
Okay.
in the weeds on probably what they're doing every day. Nick has Horse. I don't know if people know who
Horse.
Daniel Horsful
Yeah,
Horse
of
is.
course.
Pretty famous
Yeah,
character.
good dude.
Who does a great job of
Yeah.
the same thing. So I try and do a bit less. I mean, but that's also where you cut your teeth as an agent. So for the
Yes.
first 10 years of my career, I was doing all these things from visas, whereabouts, hotels, airport pickups.
Yeah.
I do less of it now, fortunately. But that's how you start, and that's how you prove yourself.
And Stuart, I would think that there are some players that are more willing to do lots of stuff, and some say, you know what, cut it down, Stuart. I just want to focus on my tennis.
Yeah, I definitely, I don't know if they choose me or I choose them, but I think I'm lucky with my players in that they all want to do stuff,
good.
whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But, there's been moments in time where, Naomi, exploded on the scene, then we did a lot of business, and then we got criticized for doing a lot of business. And it's a tricky position for me, and I see like the same's happened to Raducanu too, because, at the time I sat down with her and I said, do you like doing this? Do you want to do less of it? She said, no. I don't want to spend my afternoons playing video games and watching Netflix. Like, bring me something constructive or creative to do.
No.
So that's what we did.
Great.
But we still get, critiqued, and
Yeah.
I feel bad for personally, I feel like the female players get it more than the male. So I saw it with Emma, I saw it with Naomi, I saw it with Jeannie Bouchard. LeBron does more. I've never heard that be a critique when he has a bad game.
Right.
Interesting.
I don't really remember the last time we spoke about a male player, tennis player, in that
true.
respect. Whether it's Sinner, Carlos, Roger, Rafa.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why the female athletes in our sport get that. I think
Love
it's
you
unfair.
bringing that up,
Yeah.
Stuart. That's good. Good point.
Yeah.
We had Nick on a few days ago. It was a great chat. He was in a great mood, and it was
I'm
great
sure.
to see him back healthy and got that win.
Nick was the man. Nick was the man.
Stuart, you mentioned you were in the box for Sabalenka, and we make jokes all the time about if you were in Andy Murray's box, like you better look out, you're going to get it. We know Nick's box can get a little gnarly sometimes. He'd probably be the first to admit it. Have you been in Nick's box, or just maybe in general, do you feel those moments? Do you try to position yourself maybe not in the same row as the coach or something like that? How do you
Nick's
survive
box,
all those?
You guys know what it's insane. I mean,
He's throwing darts. He's throwing darts in the box.
There was a period of time where you had to stand up after every point.
Yeah, at Wimbledon final, right?
Yeah.
Wimbledon final, he wanted you to stand up between every point.
Not exaggerating, I'd have to like stretch before I went in there. 'Cause, like, up and down, hamstrings just in agony.
Yeah.
There was that same Wimbledon, I think first round he was playing a British guy, can't remember his name. Anyway, he was losing. It was 5 sets, and he walked over to the box, and it's that court you can see when you stand up at the top of the players' lounge, and you're looking down. Is it 18? Or is it 2 or 3?
17.
No, 2 or 3.
Oh, 3.
No,
Court 3. Yeah, court 3. Yeah.
So it's that court, and if you know the box there, you're like right on top of the players.
Yeah.
And he walked over and said a curse word and like literally hit a ball, and it must have, like, as hard as he could, and must have missed me by like no more than an inch. And then after he's like, don't take it personally, though, guys, and you have to not take it personally. But there's some people that don't have such a thick skin that sit in there once and they're like, never doing that again.
Yeah,
Paul
And
Jump.
so
Paul Jump. Is that who it was?
Exactly. Exactly.
Paul
the
Jump
match.
on court 3.
He nearly killed me if you go through the archives. Yeah.
After
Wait a
speaking
minute.
about
If he
Nick-
had hit you, had he
Yes,
hit you,
good call.
would you have pretended it didn't hurt so that he doesn't get defaulted? Because
I'd have
if
taken
you're
him off for
going
the team. Yeah, I'd
down,
have said it's nothing. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I
nothing.
would have had to.
Hit me again, Nick.
I got to get my
Bring it on.
eyeball and put it back in, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm a good soldier
Nothing
in
to
that
see
respect.
here. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'll
But
go
I
to
feel
the
like that.
hospital
I feel
later.
like he needs that. I feel like he likes that. When he gets into it, that actually kind of
absolutely
gets
needs
him
it.
going a little bit.
He absolutely needs it. But then you look at that final against Novak, and the first set, I can't remember when it turned, but the first set he won, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he didn't give us any hassle.
flack.
Give me
Yeah,
flack.
yeah.
And then he did, and,
And
then
then
the
he
match
did, and then it
unwinded,
went
and
the
I just
other
think to
way.
myself, you just kept
Yeah.
your head like
Yeah.
it was right there for
Yeah.
you. But yeah.
And
that's
so
it.
after speaking about Nick Kyrgios, we got to speak about Ons Jabeur, Minister of Happiness, right? Give us a good story about Ons that maybe we don't know, because
no,
when we see her in the locker room,
Yeah.
I mean, she is just the happiest person ever. Always says hi to everyone. But
She's
maybe give
great.
us a story about Ons.
I love. I don't work with Ons anymore.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I'll give you that caveat.
Okay.
But she's great. Not because we're on bad terms, or
Yeah,
not
yeah.
because we love Ons. It was just different way of working, and most of her business is actually going to be in the Middle East, which is not necessarily my speciality.
Well, then give us a story about Iva Jovic. For people who don't know her,
Iva?
I mean, she's coming up fast, and I believe she's now in the top 150, I believe now. And
Yeah.
I mean, she's got such a great game, and her personality is amazing.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't have a story per se, but like I can tell you, if you go to a dinner with Eva and you sit with her family, who are all amazing, she was the one that you'd think was like 40 years old. She's so mature.
So
the way
mature.
she like speaks like a grown adult.
Yeah.
Like very interesting woman, very well educated, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Super smart girl. I imagine if she didn't play tennis and she did go to college, she could have gone wherever she wanted and had an amazing career doing something else.
And she's so dialed in. I mean, I've been on the court with her at the USTA in Orlando, and she's very professional and methodical about everything that she does, and she wants it so bad, and that's exactly why she is going to get it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen, and this might be an exaggeration, but certainly the fight that she has in her is larger than her physical size.
Than her
Let's say
physical
that.
stature.
Yeah.
She had a massive mini run in Indian Wells. We spoke to her as well. We were giving her grief. She is in the top 50. You're right, Nick. Just 17 years old. That she hasn't even. I think she got her driver's permit, but she's got to work on getting the license. Maybe you can guide her towards.
She better do it quick because we want to get her a car deal. So that's
Yeah, I was going to say.
I
guess that's the question: is how
help.
many calls are you taking per day for all these athletes for companies, right? I mean, companies got to be just hitting you up all the time
doing a lot.
for names
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a team of people. It's not just me, I have
Yeah,
to say.
but
We
you-
have, I'm probably the face, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of hard work. But yeah, we're busy right now.
Jeez, it's
All these
great.
athletes are doing great. So.
Yeah.
A Porsche or
What we like.
BMW for Eva would be nice. What do you
Porsche,
think?
BMW.
Yeah.
BMW for Sabalenka, if I can plug anything. That's
Okay.
that's her
Oh.
favorite car.
That's her favorite
Okay.
car.
Yeah.
Well, that
All
one's
right.
off the
Yeah.
table then.
Go down the list. What about Osaka?
Car-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, she's got a whole fleet. She doesn't need anything for free. So
That's amazing.
Kyrgios says he's got a Lamborghini.
he's got a Lamborghini, but has he still got that green Tesla?
He said he's got one car, so he says he's got a Lamborghini.
Have you seen
'Cause
that ugly
I
green
saw the
Tesla
green. It was
thing?
ugly,
It's not
so
for me.
ugly.
That's not for me.
And Eva, what's the car deal we're
Eva
looking
will
at
give
for
her
her?
something safe and basic. We don't want her
Volvo.
to be too
A
flashy.
Volvo.
Let's keep her head.
Volvo. I
Let's
love
keep
it.
exactly Volvo.
Stuart, this has been awesome. We've had you on before, but thanks for the chat and thanks for, I don't know, giving us some insight into the day-to-day.
It was good insight.
Yeah,
We
really
like
was.
it,
And
Stuart.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
all
me. Yeah,
success
it's a
and all
pleasure
the
to be
people.
on. You guys are doing a great show. We love it.
So
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks, Stuart.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Appreciate
Thanks a
it.
lot.
See you
Enjoy
later,
the rest of the
Stuart.
day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
good luck to the whole crew.